That'd be nice if I was in tune. Concept. All right, where's my tuner? I got so many tuners. So many tuners to choose from. All right. Guess I have the Les Paul out. Never have the Les Paul out. E string. I had it, I think, this last weekend I used it at church, not this past weekend, but the weekend before. And I think it tuned it to drop D or something. Nice thing about it is once you tune it, you can tune it one time through, whereas a Strat with a whammy bar, you got to go several times through. So, let's see what we do. Well, my action is really low on this thing. If I go, it sounds really, I can hear the frets hitting. Let me move this a little bit. But, let's see, this is the game one, I think. I haven't warmed up. I have not warmed up, which isn't unusual. Yeah, I had added it. All I gotta do is go like this. I gotta change the hashtags here. Hashtags are all wrong. Let's see. Hashtag soloing. I don't know. That's a weird hashtag. Guitar lead guitar. How about that? And I need one more hashtag. Guitar soloing, maybe. Sometimes they don't let you use certain hashtags. I think because there may be they're too broad or something. So. Pretty sloppy this morning. I'm waiting for some music for this session I'm doing for a video game, and I'm not anticipating I don't know how hard it's going to be, but the composer said, "Oh, you can tap, right?" I'm like, yeah, kinda. I did a whole full disclosure thing, so I mean, weird. Oh, okay. Today is the okay. You know what I don't like is that when online banking and people send you a check and it's like takes forever. Like if you wrote me a check and mailed it, it would get here in no matter where you were in the country, it would probably get to me in 3 days. Feel free to. With this online banking BS though, it's like, oh, we ordered you a check on this date, and it's like literally 7 or 8 days later, and I'm like, yeah, that's so that the bank can earn interest on both of our money for that whole time. My stepdad was brilliant with that kind of stuff. He taught me everything I know about investing in money and all that. And he took me one time. He goes, "Hey, come to the bank with me." So on Friday we went to the bank, and he wrote a $50,000 check and deposited it in the bank. And I'm like, in an account. And I'm like, wow. And he goes, "Yeah, I do this every weekend." What, you deposit a 50? No, I bounce money from one account to the other. And I go, "Really? Why?" And he goes, "Well, and keep in mind, this is like 1978, 79. That because this money market fund, they both promise that they'll pay as long as the money's in the account. And they both promise they'll pay once they get the check in their hand. So he goes in on a Friday, writes a $50,000 check from one money market fund to the other money market fund. And over the weekend, until the check clears on like Tuesday, they're both paying interest on that. And then on, like, if Monday was a holiday, then it would be Wednesday. So, and he would make, this is back, keep in mind 78, 79, interest rates were 14, 15, 16% on money market funds. There was no reason to ever put money in the stock market. If you're making that kind of money for sure on a money market fund, you would never invest in the stock market. And he would make $300 or $400 a weekend just doing that. It's like, brilliant. Now we have to wire money. See, it's because of my stepdad. So, all right, who do we have here? Oh, yeah. Thank you, Bruce. I got that changed. Let's see. Oh, and you know what? Speaking of changing things, I got to go to the previous lesson and get rid of all the ads. I'm so sorry if you watched the previous lesson and it had a million ads. It's not my doing. I don't know how to stop them from doing that. Let's see. There's the live one. Let's see. Okay. So monetization. Yep. See, I can tell already that they did it. It's just insane. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 ads in the first hour. So I'm deleting them all. Again, I apologize. 20 ads. That's every 3 minutes. Okay. So, but I'm going to put one at the top, one at 30, one at 1. And I'm not. You can choose exactly where you want to put the ad. So, like if I have a pause, which is really common. Then I actually like. It's better to put an ad mid sentence. That way you just stick around. If it's during one of my many pregnant pauses, you're probably like, "Yeah, I'm done." Okay. So hopefully, I think I already took care of Wednesday's lesson, but that was Friday's lesson that had all those. Let me just make sure Wednesday's lesson's cool. I can usually tell by looking at this one page. Yeah, this one's cool. Okay, so we're good there. And then I'll pull up Discord so I have that. Did you see that picture of me on Discord, anybody? Hey, look at me. Like, you don't see enough of me. But I'll tell you, that was me I think in that picture I am 21, and oh hey Rick, nice truck. That's a cool truck, man. Let's see, where did I put that picture? Did I not upload it? I thought I did. Oh no, I put it in followers with guitars. Yeah. Oh yeah, some of you saw it. I mean, it's hilarious. There's a little boy, and look, I'm wearing sweatbands. It didn't help. That guitar, I still have that guitar, that Ibanez, and my sweat would just corrode the crud out of any gold hardware. I never buy a guitar. This is chrome. I never buy a guitar with gold hardware because my hand just destroys it. All right, let's see. Man, I have not been on this computer, and all weekend I didn't get on it. I can tell all the windows are open from Friday. So we're going to talk some more about soloing. Let's see if I got any. Hey, everyone from Louisville. John's got to, let's see, still might want to stay from downtown. Not much to see. Everything is boarded up. Guitar learning is great to get out once by now. Things like that. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, it's all boarded up. Let's see. So maybe I probably should start teaching you, John, if you're going to actually eat eat lunch. Okay, so yeah, everybody's just saying hi. Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, right? Watch my first video. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you get to see me a lot. Yeah, it's hilarious. Why is this window not moving? I don't understand. Trying to adjust something here. Oh, there we go. All right. All right. Now, I'm sorry. That just sounds like Radiohead. My son knows all the Radiohead songs. So maybe what I'll do is go with the less gainy sound for one thing. This one seems to. Load. Not bad. The G string on a Gibson guitar is always a battle. I've got one of those string butlers. You can see a video on it. If you go to my videos and look for string butler, Alex and I put string butlers on my SG and his Les Paul, and it's pretty non-destructive. I mean, it is non-destructive. You just take off. Take off the bolts on these two tuners, and then slip it on behind the strings. You can even leave the strings on, I think. I forget how we did it, and then basically the strings. What's happening with a Gibson is the angle of the strings. It makes it kind of snag here at the nut, and so Strats are more straight across. In fact, they are straight across. That's why they designed the headstock that way, so the strings go straight across. But the problem with having them spread here is that it gets a little snaggy right there, and so sometimes if you bend, the tension on the string will make it tighten and come this way, and then when you release, it doesn't go all the way back or something. It's just not fun. Hey, Christopher, good to see you. I'm glad you're working. A lot of people aren't. Never complain about working in these times. So maybe what I'll do right now is we'll do a little bit of like if you have your guitar in your hand, you can imitate, and I'll try to keep it real simple. I don't have. You know what? Let me see what diagrams I have, because maybe what I'll do is I'll stick with a diagram. Boom. I've got tons of diagrams, right? But I don't know if I have. Okay, this blues scale. We haven't really talked about diatonic scales too much, have we? Ooh, this is kind of cool. Maybe this. Maybe I'll do this and we'll stick with this. Okay, P1, P2, B. Another. I've got a lot of pentatonic shapes and blues shapes, but no diatonic. We should definitely probably start doing some diatonic scales. We haven't really talked about that except when we talked about specifically diatonic scales. Okay, so I'm going to go hunting for this P1, P2, and then I'll add it. Here, check this out. Let me get rid of this. Yes. Okay. Add image. Okay. Browse. So many things to do here to get one little image up. Oh, wait. Oh, I see. Got so many things. You're watching an episode of CSI right now. Here we go. This is the one. All right, it's going to be really big. I'll make it cover my face. Okay, so basically what this is pentatonic number 1 and number 2. There's no fret position for this, but we're going to do this because we're in A minor. I can change the key so we can practice different keys, but because we're in A minor right now, or C major, same thing, then we'll, you know what? I could put this over the window there. That looks actually better. Okay. So I'm going to try to stick to this. Now, the notes in this scale, if I want to edit this, okay. The notes in that scale basically are A, C, D, E, and G. And if we look at the G chord is going to be the one chord that's going to be like, what do we do over that? Because the chord progression is going to go A minor to F to C to G. And we don't have a B, so we might want to add the B note. So when you're playing the pentatonic number 1, there's a B here, down from your pinky on the first string, and also on the 3rd string if you go down a fret, there's a B there. And that'll sound really, really sweet over the G. Actually, it sounds great over the A minor. And we'll play with this, okay? We may actually just do something where we just use like the B note so you can hear what it sounds like. And I might even tell you what that relationship is to the chord. And that's why when you hear that note, it changes. And I've talked about this before. It changes. The note sounds different even though it's the same note because the chords, I got Pee Wee Herman hair, don't I? Because the chords are changing. It's the relationship from that note to the chord. It's like when we do. Okay. Like I said, I don't use Gibsons a lot because hashtag tuning. All right. So I'll try to keep it simple. Play along with me. Get your guitar out. Let's do the warm. Let's do pentatonic number 1 to start here. 5th fret, 1st, 4th, 1st, 3rd, 1st, 3rd, 1st, 3rd, 1st, 4th, 1st, 4th, and that fret-wise backwards. 8, 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5. Okay. We go up to the 2nd. Pentatonic number 2, we're going to be at the 8th fret with our 2nd finger, then the 10th with the pinky, and then 7th fret, 10, 7, 10, 7, 9, and then move your hand if you want, I always do, and then go 8, 10, 8, 10. Unless we're doing the scale like as an exercise, then I wouldn't move my hand. Okay. All right. So let me hit the play on the music, and I'll try to take it real slow if I can. Try. Okay. So the C note's going to work great until we get to the G. C note, one C note is right here. So just play it right here on this third string, 5th fret. And that's the 3rd of the A minor, 5th of the F, root of the C, and then sus chord. You hear how that wants to resolve like a suspended chord? Let me turn my guitar down a little bit, I think. Go down to D there. Now we could also go to the D. And that would be in the key. That would be in the scale. So we're going to go up to here. And that's the 5th of the G chord, that D note. You can make one note sing. C, C, B, C. C, C, B, C. B. Hit that C, and then hammer on the D, and then cut it short. Like a singer. All right, let's hit the B. Woo, look at that B over the A. Again, over the F. Oh, what the heck is going on? Oh, okay, I feel better now. Okay, so what's happening is this is the 2nd of the A minor. That's the sharp 4 of the F. It's the major 7th of the C. It wants to go to C really bad, but then fortunately the chord changes and we go to the G. Sorry. I get bored. Okay, but you can see. And let's go up to here, this B. So we're at the 7th fret of the top string. Slide up from that A. So you know how to find it from the pentatonic. There's the G. Hard to hammer on that pinky. The G sounds great too. So I'll tell you what the G is in relationship to all 4 of those chords. So again, soloing doesn't need to be crazy busy. 7th. It wants to go up to that A. This is the 2nd. the C, it's just the fifth. And then this G is obviously the root of the G chord. Okay. What other note? The D note. Let's sit on the D note because the D note, which is the third string, 7th fret, is one of the D notes. There's another one down here, but too low, and it's kind of hard to hear in the bass, even get in the way of the bass. So the D is going to have a different relationship over all the chords. The only chord that the D is in is the G chord. There's no D in any of the other 3 chords. So the D is going to sound like a suspended tone over the other 3 chords. Check this out. Over the A minor, it is a 4th. And over the F, it's a 6th. Over the C, it's a 2nd. And over G, it's the 5th. It's the only chord that it actually sounds like it belongs to. They all want to resolve down to the C note, of course, except the G one. Now my G string's really gonna be out of yeah. All right, let's get a break from this track. I gotta see if you got what you were all saying. Hopefully you're all playing. I can tell by how many comments are. Oh yeah, you guys have been playing. That's good. There were only like 5 comments popped up. That was good. Hey, Othello, what's going on, man? Good to see you, man. Let's see. So let me just tune real quick with my sound off so it's not annoying chainsaw buzz. So you can see where a couple things, those notes outside of the chords are really the interesting notes. I mean, we could play chord tones all day long, but that's part. So when you, again, you know, it's the fork in the road. It's one of the many forks of the road of soloing. Should you think over the overarching tonality of the song? In other words, that song is that progression is in the key of C or A minor, same thing. Or should you play over each individual chord? Well, if you're thinking over each individual chord, you're more likely to play very in the pocket, very inside stuff. You're like, oh, A minor licks. Oh, C, or F, I got to play F licks. Okay, C, oh, I got to play C licks. Whereas if you think just the key of C, okay, well, these are the notes, these are the 7 notes in the key of C, you're more likely to land on and play notes that create a little bit of tension. Does that make sense? So, I mean, I can go either way on it, and I'm probably, when I'm soloing and I'm unconscious, you know, I'm always unconscious, but but when I'm soloing and not really thinking about it, I probably do make accommodations for certain chords when they come up. Like, for example, the G chord. You know, you can't, if you're thinking C major and you're really being very C major centric, you get to that G chord, that 5 chord in the key of C, and some of those notes are not going to really sell it. And like I said, sitting on that C note doesn't work. You got to go to that B. And when you do go to that B, even if we're playing in pentatonic and there's no B in it, you're kind of telegraphing to everyone that you know what you're doing, and that makes everybody kind of relax and listen to you. If they're worried you're going to hit a really bad note, then you might, you know, you might want to pay attention to what chords are going down. Okay. All right. So, all right. Yeah, John says, so for the most part, you're aiming for chord tones and or notes around them. Sounds like you're saying tension is desirable. Yes, actually, I'm saying kind of the opposite. I'm saying you could do that. If you do that, you're less likely to get the tension unless you understand which notes over every chord is creating tension. like that B over the F, sounded really cool. But you might not actually go to B if you're thinking, oh, I'm playing over an F chord. But if you're just kind of randomly playing through C, you might land on it more. You'd be more likely to land on it if you're not thinking about the chord tones. That's what I'm saying. Now, if you are really good at understanding the theory and the chord tones and the neighboring tones and the suspension tones, the tension tones, or whatever you want to call them, then you can think chord tones, or you can think each individual chord and go, oh, I know. And someone like Joe Satriani knows exactly what he's doing. If he hears a minor, he's going to automatically go to that ninth. That second, that's at B. But what I was trying to do now, here's another note we can try. Let's try the B flat. B flat's not in the key of C. It's not, and so it's going to create some weird tensions. Okay, over the A minor, it's going to be the flat 9. Okay, but we're not going to be sitting on the B minor. We're just going to kind of go to it. Just hint at it. We could slide, we could hammer on, we could bend, like that. Okay, over the F, it's a sus. So it's kind of interesting. Over the C, it's a flat 7. Sorry. So it kind of creates kind of more of a blue sound. And over the G major, it's the flat 3rd, or you can think of it as a sharp 9 if you want. And that also creates a very bluesy tone. But if we sit on it, it's not gonna be very pleasant. But if we touch on it, it will be fine. Interesting, huh? All right. So you can see, I mean, it's a bit of a hard sell, but you can kind of justify it. And there's a saying among jazz musicians: if you make a mistake, do it again. They'll think you did it on purpose. So maybe do it 2 more times. Then they'll be like, man, he's really pushing that envelope of jazz introspection. So. Yes, exactly. 100%, John. Tension means suspension could be the same thing. A suspended note wants to be resolved as well. You don't have to resolve it, but most people like to hear it resolved. So entire symphonies are written largely based on tension and release. And so that's all you're doing. When you're playing a solo, you're essentially writing a song. Like I talked about, one of the other forks in the road potentially for soloing is, do you improvise a solo or do you write a solo? There's a lot of solos out there that you know, and from famous records that were written. And I get in a lot of trouble when I say I think that John Coltrane wrote the first chorus of the solo of Giant Steps. I don't think he improvised that. And I just think because it's too perfect. And I think John Coltrane was an amazing musician, but Giant Steps wasn't a standard when he did it. It was a new song. And I don't know anyone that could play over, even someone who's played giant steps for 40 years, it can play it like that perfect. But and then what he did the next 4 choruses was to do variations on that, hit on it, hit notes, hold notes, play weird notes. But he kept going back and quoting his original, I think it's 16 bar solo. But there are a lot of guitar solos. I don't know. I would love to ask. Rick Beato was talking to Larry Carlton. One of my favorite guitar solos is the guitar solo from Kid Charlemagne's, the Steely Dan song. If you don't know it, look it up. It's a great guitar solo, and it was one of the first guitar solos that I learned. He even does a tapping thing at one point, and it's an A minor. It's an A minor, and of course the outro solo is equally impressive. But it's so perfect. And I know Larry Carlton, one of his things is John, you'd like this. He likes to superimpose triads. So if the chord is C, or better, C major 7 or something, he might play C major triad, but he's more likely to play a G major triad, like play a triad based on the 5th of the chord. And then he might go to the C triad, but he'll do both. And that's one of his little tricks that he does. And so he does that in that solo. But boy, there's not a misplaced note. If that's an improvised solo, it's like, I should just quit playing guitar. But I probably should. I've never met Larry. Now I did talk to Lukather. I've met Steve Lukather a couple times, and I talked to him about "Talk to You Later" solo, which is from the Tubes, and he said no, that was completely improvised. He played on the original track, and then they brought him, so he knew the song. It wasn't like he hadn't heard the song before, but I think he came in, played. Just did a pass, and then at the end he did it was in B, I think. You guys are like, and he felt like he was off, like he was out of pitch, he was flat or sharp or something, and he wanted to do it again, and they were all in the booth going, not for $1 million. Because keep in mind, back then, you were going to tape, and if you did it again, it meant pretty much you were going to have to go over what you just did. A lot of great music has been ruined because an engineer didn't know how to punch in. Think about all the stuff that is out there that could have been out there if somebody hadn't erased it, But weed eaters go in outside my apartment. Oh. Are they making too much noise outside? And people outside your apartment are making noise. All right, so we can talk some more about tension and release. That would be a good exercise. So let's do this. Let's play the root of each one of these chords, okay? So what I'm going to do is we're going to learn the root of each of these chords, and they're not all in the scale I have over here. I can't do this. It's so hard to do. All right. Two of the notes. Well, no, just one of the notes. F is not in there. So here's A. So here's an A. So at the 7th fret of the 4th string is your A. And we're going to go to C, which is here. The 3rd string, 5th fret, and then the 6th fret is our F on the 2nd string. Okay, and then G, we can go right up here. Okay, so when I play this progression, we're just going to play those 4 notes. 7th fret, 4th string, 5th fret, 3rd string, 6th fret, 2nd string, and then 7th fret, G string. 2nd string. Okay. So here we go. Let's see. Keep it really tight. So this is as inside as you can get. Oh, wait. Now C, I'm sorry. I hit it backwards. Okay, now G. So we're going to go A, then up to F. Here, second string. Then down to C on the third string. Now, if you played that down an octave, you'd be basically the bass player. So why be the bass player? You already have a bass player. There's the F to the C to the G. Now we could go to the... Okay, so now what we could do... You can stop the music. Stop the music. Stop the bubble machine. So the... So what we could do is we could go to the second. Those are the roots, all right? So we could go to the second of each one of those chords. And they're all up a whole step. That's the beauty of those four chords is the second is, if every one of those is a whole step up. So all you got to think is you got to think what's the root and go up one scale tone, okay? So if we go up one scale tone from the A, we get B, which we already knew creates some tension, which is really lovely. Okay, and then we go to the G. Over the F, we're going to want to go to the G. Okay, and then we could do it here. Okay, and then over the C chord, we go up a whole step from C, and we get D. Okay, and then on the G, we have here, we go up to the first string, 5th fret, we get A. So just to review, we'll start with the B, then we'll go to the G, we'll go to the D, and then we'll go to the A. Okay, now check this out. Those are all seconds that Andy Summers added to those chords. If he didn't add the seconds, it would just sound like that. He added the seconds. It's great. Creates a nice tension. Beautiful tone. Okay, so just to review one more time. We want a B over the A minor. We want a G over the F. We want a D over the C. And we want an A over the G. And so we'll listen. All of them are going to sound unresolved and tense in some ways. Some may sound more tense than others, but... Sorry, we'll wait for it to come around. First one is going to be the B, though, right here. So B. And the G up here. That sounds nice. And then the D. Sounds tense. And then the A up on top. Let's go to the B right here. That's a nice one. Okay. We're going to the G. And to the D. And to the A. Back to the B. 8th fret on the 2nd string. 7th fret on the 3rd string next. Thanks, Bruce. Isn't that interesting? Okay. It sounds good to go back to the root. You go back and forth. back and forth between the root and the second. Okay, so that's interesting, and those are definitely far more out. They create tension. They don't resolve. They're not the roots. And then, but you'll notice as soon as I went to that, I did that lick, and it goes back to the root over the A. It's like, oh, it sounds so good. It's interesting because root notes are boring. A lot of times, like when we just played the root note, I was like, well, you might as well be the bass player if you're just gonna play the root over every chord. It's still a really good exercise. All right. I would often have students when I was teaching bebop stuff and trying to play over hard progressions. We go through a progression. We'd learn it like if it was and I would say, okay, what's the root of each of these chords? Okay, that's easy because it's in the name. What's the fifth? Well, that's not so easy because if it's a flat 5, you got to accommodate for that. What's the third? Okay, what's the seventh? And then so we would do 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We play the root on the downbeats. Okay, now play the root in the fifth. Now you sound like a bass player. Okay, now play the root, the one on the root in the third. And then you play the root third and seventh. And eventually they would get to the point where they knew they could make the shapes of every chord they were playing over, and then from there they can go. They have more confidence playing over the chord progression that's maybe kind of difficult to play over, or moving by really really quickly. So, yeah, iced coffee. That's the whole point, is to kind of okay. So now we're going to do the third of each of these chords. All right. And again, we're not really sticking to this diagram over here by that's covering the window, because we're having to be too diatonic, okay? But let's play the third of each of these chords. So the third of the A minor is C, the third of F is A, the third of C is E, and the third of G is B. And so we can play those here, here, and here. So, okay, so here's the third of A minor. That's the C note. 5th fret of the, fifth fret of the third string. Then we go down here, and this A is the third. We could go up there if you want, but A is the third of F. Okay. And then, hey, Rick, how's it going? And then what's the next one? C. So C, we can go to the E up here. So we have C, A, and E, and then B right here below the C on the third string, 4th fret. Okay, so again, third of F, third of A minor, third of F, third of C, third of B. So we're going to play through this A minor, F, C, G progression, just playing the thirds, and we're just playing them as whole notes. You can have more fun if you want to play different rhythms, but okay, wait. Oh, okay. All right. Just making sure I don't have anything important I have to deal with. All right, so to the jam. Up to this E here. And now to the B. And we want the C. Now go down to the A here. Sloppy A there. Up to the E on the second string. And then the B on the third string. And up a half step to the C. Down a third to the A, which is the third of the F chord. Up to the C here. I'm sorry, the E. My bad. Up to the B. lot of tension here. You're playing the third. Now, one thing you can do, if you want, you can go to the fourth. But the fourth isn't always going to be up a half step. Okay? The sus fourth, when we think of a sus 4, like a D sus, we're adding that pinky and we're only going up one fret. But if we look at the scale tones, we go, oh, sorry. Now we have a half step. And over the G, the B, half step. But over the A minor, the fourth is up a whole step from the third. Over the F, in the key of C, the fourth is up a whole step from the third. So we have the half step, fourth. But I can go up a half step on the F. Watch this, on the A. That's kind of cool. I'll do that. That's a trick. I do it, and Michiko always knows that I'm playing like a gospel thing. Check this out. A minor. See, there's nothing surprising about the other suspension. That sounds weird. That sounds in. But when I did the suspended over the F, it sounds, you get that blues note in it. So it definitely takes it to a blues place. I like to think of it more as a gospel-y place. Michiko will just smile when I do that. She loves gospel. She can play gospel like crazy, like it's like her thing. So, all right. Holly's here. Hey, Holly. My chores took way too long. Stupid chores. Why do we have to have chores? So those are all. So I kind of right then we talked about the fourths and the thirds. Okay, because they're neighboring, and like I said, with the C chord, the fourth is just a half step up from the E, that F E thing. Same thing with the B. I'm sorry, with the B and the over the G chord. Samal has a question. How do you incorporate these tips in like an improv session in a band jam? When you are jamming, are you conscious of every note you're playing? How do you get to the point where this becomes natural? That's a huge question in some ways. We've talked about this before. There's another fork in the road for the thinking and just playing, or thinking, head or heart. And you're not born naturally just being able to know what notes are what. You're not born naturally knowing, just improvising without thinking and playing the perfect solo. I like to get to the place, Samal, where I'm not thinking about it, but I'm doing it. It sounds like I'm thinking about it. Okay. And so probably, Samal, the first thing, again, I harp on this all the time, is to know your fretboard. Okay. Know your fretboard. And you don't, and then the next thing I'm going to say is know your cage method. Know the cage shapes. Okay. Here's the thing though, because there's only 5 cage shapes, which makes it really kind of easy to, that's kind of why it's a natural way to kind of look at the guitar, because it's based on some of the five chord shapes that you learn when you're a beginner guitarist. But that's not why. It's actually just the way the guitar is laid out, designed. So it's very, very easy to start to see shapes. Now, if I say learn the cage method, the implication there is it's not just 5 chords, it's 5 chord shapes in 12 different keys. That can be hugely daunting. And so what I would say is don't think that you have to learn the caged method in all 12 keys. You don't need to learn A flat if your band's not going to jam on a song in A flat. Okay? If your band is jamming in a lot of songs in A, C, G, E, then those are the ones you want to concentrate on. In fact, the name of the cage, I would concentrate on those 5 keys first and start seeing those shapes up and down the neck. And if you go to the very first, this is lesson number 118, 19. If you go to lesson number 1, I do 12 lessons in a row on the caged method where I talk about the shapes and the scales around them. And that's where you really, the fretboard starts to kind of get revealed to you. Okay. Now, I'm doing a series right now on soloing. And so we're in the middle of it. I don't know how long I'm going to go on it, but right now we're talking about chord tones and how they sound over different chords. And so we're just experimenting with that. So we are thinking about that in this moment, but normally, no, I wouldn't overthink about it. But I am very aware of what notes are going to create tension and which notes. Obviously, the root notes are always going to sound resolved. Okay, so there is some thinking going on. The goal is to not. Thank you, Bruce. The goal is to feel and to let your heart speak, and that is really ambiguous sounding and really kind of light and flighty, but it's ultimately what you want to do. Now, I'm going to go ahead and solo over this for a little bit. I'm not going to analyze too much what I'm doing, but I'm just going to go ahead and hopefully the guitar will stay in tune. And I may go with a heavier gain sound just for fun. So let's see what this sounds like. I mean, I'm going all over the place. But one thing I really try to do, if you want to go back and listen to that again, one thing I am trying to do is, oh, thank you, Aaron. Aaron Hampton, what the heck? That's my nephew. Everybody say hi, Aaron. He lives in New York City. New York City. He doesn't know the reference. That's it's an old commercial, Aaron. What are you doing? What are you doing online right now, man? It's hilarious. Unky Tom? I can hear your voice when you say that, when you type that. All right, so let's see. Hold on. I got to get to my windows all organized here. Okay. So, one of the things I'm trying to do is to create little themes, make it something that's like saying, is like a song in itself. Like, in other words, imagine when you're writing a solo that you're actually not, or when you're playing a solo that you're not actually like just playing a solo, that you're actually writing a new song over the chord progression. So that's what I went with. Now that note is a sweet tone over the F, chord. It's like this. It creates that kind of soundtrack, maudlin, thinking zone. And then it went to the C chord. And you'll notice I almost always did do some kind of Samal. I always did kind of some kind of accommodation for. And Samal, yes, that's 100% true. I'll address that in a second. Accommodating the G chord, because that's the one chord that's kind of the 5 and it sets up everything else. Okay, so let me look at some of these comments. Everybody's saying hi to Aaron. Aaron, we get a lot of the same 20, 30 people here every day or every time I do this. So Samal says, I've been told it's a good exercise to try to sing your solo when you are playing and even before you start playing. 100%. Okay, here's why. I talk about this. The regulars know, and they can tune out right now because they're gonna hear me say it. But when you start to sing a solo, when you sing along with your, it's kind of high, but you don't have to have a mic on your mouth, on your face. The audience doesn't need to hear you. But at first, when you do this, when you're like practicing your scales, you do da, you're behind your guitar because you don't know what it's going to sound like until you play it. But as you get better, then you can start to do this at the same time. Right? So they're happening simultaneously. Now your head is connected to your hand. Okay, now what you want to do is you want to let your head lead and go. Okay? Now you're creating up here where this can't create anything. This does what this tells it to do, okay? So your hand can't create anything. Your head and your heart can create unlimited things. Clearly, we are in a Western civilization with 7 freaking notes, and we have an endless supply of music to listen to. You couldn't, if you had 1,000 lifetimes, you couldn't listen to all the music created. So, okay, I'll solo more, Aaron, just for Aaron. Aaron, just put me on in the background here, and I'll just solo the rest of the time. I don't. So, Samal, that's a very, very good thing to do. You don't have to do it all the time. I probably am doing it in my head more than I'm doing it outside. You guys probably don't catch me singing along with my playing very much. It's more in my head. Okay, Rick Forza, let's see. I find some chord shapes in caged system are difficult. Yes, that's totally. Oh no. The point of the caged method. And Aaron, I forget. Do you play guitar at all? That's stupid. I should know this. The caged method is a way of seeing your fretboard and learning your fretboard using common shapes. Okay, and the shapes are C, A, G, E, and D. They spell out the word caged. That's why it's called the caged method. And like I said before, you can watch my first 12 videos I did for the COVID live stream stuff. And I talk about 12 videos. I talk about the caged method. And I reference it for the next 100 and whatever videos, 107 videos. Yes, so the thing is what I would always have people do is, okay, now play those, because you can play these 5 shapes with your first three chords, first three fingers. Now play them with these three fingers, okay? So we have C, we play like this, that's difficult. Now this is not because you have to do this, it's just because I want you to visualize something. Okay, and then A is, you can play like this. That's how I play A anyway, because my fingers are, substitute one skinny finger for a fat finger. And then G, kind of old school G right there, and then E, like that. Okay, so my first finger's still available, so like that, and then D like this. Okay, not easy to do. Well, the reason we do that is so that we can go up here and play all the shapes up the neck, okay? We do this all the time with the A shape. That's the A bar chord that we use all the time. And then the E bar chord that we use all the time, right? Okay, so those are common, but the G one, Rick, you're right. That's like really, really difficult. There's no reason to do this. However, you don't need to be able to play it. You just need to be able to see it. That's why I'm having you play it. In my lesson, I talk about this, and we go up, and it's so that you can see all the shapes. So this is the root note, because that's a G note. So this is the A shape. So if we can see this, then we see the pentatonic that goes right in there. Okay, we see that pentatonic shape. If we keep going, A sharp, or B flat, and B, and then C, and here's the C. And that's this, I can never point in the right direction, right there. It's this shape right up there, okay? That's based on the G shape. This one's based on the E shape, which after G in the word cage is an E. And so here's the E shape. There's the E shaped C chord, right? E, F, G, A, B, C. And there's major scales, minor scales, pentatonic scales, blues scales, whatever you want. They're all in all of those shapes, okay? So that's why I emphasize the cage method. Not so that you can play all those chords. Now, it doesn't hurt. But like, for example, that G1 that's really hard to move around, I play this chord a lot, right? Let me get a different tone if I'm going to play a lot of chords, because it gets a little mushy. Right? Count Basie used that shape. Of course, the piano doesn't count. But also this shape down there, the bottom part of the G, I'm using that a lot now. I love that. Of course, now I want to more of just. So, all right. So let's see. Oh wait, Aaron, I got to do a screenshot of that. That's pretty funny. Okay, I'll send that to your cousins. Let's see. All right. Yeah, right. Uncle Tom. Uncle Tom. You can all call me Uncle Tom. I am Uncle Tom. And this is my cabin. And Uncle Tom was, I never understood the diss, because Uncle Tom was a Christ figure. He sacrificed for others. But anyway, Dennis, yes, Dennis, that's yeah. But you can have the third there. But you're right. Dennis put an X here. If you'll see, he did 3X003. There's a reason for that, because that G chord can kind of sound a little muddy if you get that third in there. A lot of times I'll play this 3X0033. There's no third in that chord, but people hear it even if it's not there. My main goal, colleagues, is to have the same expressive freedom on guitar that I have on my voice. Exactly. That's exactly. And your voice is, my voice is very limited. However, your brain is unlimited. I always make the observation that, have you ever heard a melody and you went, wow, that sounds familiar. What is that? And it may be a melody you heard when you were 3 years old, and you only heard it once in the car while your mom was driving you to the store or something, And your brain is constantly, especially when you're young, is constant recording. So you have all these melodies in your head that you could throw down on the guitar if you can get that, transition from the head to the hands nailed. Okay. And there are a lot of George Benson's great at singing along with what he's playing. He's freaking amazing. He's also got a really good voice, so it really helps sell the thing. I know that it's funny because if you watch, who's the jazz pianist? He's improvising Keith Jarrett. He sings a lot, but he doesn't sing so much as moan. He just makes a lot of noises. So yeah, Keith Jarrett, but singing along, and it actually will change how I play it if I sing along while I play it. I'll probably immediately start playing like George Benson if I do that. Oops. And then I also will limit my range on the guitar, or I can sing down an octave. And I might not play very fast because I can't sing that fast. I can't do that. Yeah, I mean, it's just something about it. It's almost, I just like doing it, sitting by myself. It's just kind of a peaceful thing. Even if my pitch isn't perfect as a vocalist, it's a really fun kind of, almost a Zen thing. I hate to say it, but well, I don't hate to say it, but it's just kind of a peaceful thing to be able to do. I lost it just now, kind of not even thinking, like I forgot you all were there. So, which, I really, it's easy to forget you're there, because I can't see any of you. Benson, George Benson, not Benson. Yeah. What about G add 9? Oh, yeah, very common. C2 is very common. Yeah, the G sounds very similar. This G chord sounds very similar to this G chord. A lot of similar notes in there. See, Catherine, thanks. Time for me to get back to work. See you later, Catherine. Let's see, Bruce. One thing I learned early on: sometimes the correct fingering for a chord can be changed. Fingering that makes shift to the next chord easier. 100% true. Also, well, thanks, Holly. Also, some people play different chords different ways. The A chord is a great example. I really, one of the things, and I'm an absolutist in some things. All right, there is a God. I believe that. All right, it does require belief, and I admit that as well. But I don't like absolutists when it comes to guitar. Well, the only way to do that, the only way to think of that, or people will argue with me about, notation and fingerings and things like that. And I'm like, when you buy a house with your guitar playing in California, you can tell me how it's supposed to be notated. So anyway. Sorry, I'm a jerk. But A chord, a lot of people will play, like some people will play it like that. See, I'm tilting my first finger, see that? And I actually have the first string open. Okay? Some people play with these 4 fingers. That's pretty much how everyone learns it, right? Or 3 fingers, sorry. These 3. But I can't really, it's just a little bit too many fingers in one little space. So I tend to play with these 3 fingers because I'm substituting out the larger index finger for the smaller pinky, and it just makes it a lot easier. Some people will play it like this, and here's why. I've seen people play it like this, and that actually makes sense because I don't feel as cramped. Okay, the only thing I'm concerned about is accidentally letting this first finger slide down so it becomes an A major, which may be what you want. It's a beautiful chord, but the reason people do it is so that when you go to E chord, you just slide the first finger down. Let's see. That. So that makes Bruce's point that sometimes you finger a chord based on getting to how you're going to get to another chord. 100% true. Like for example, this G chord. If I were to play, I might play it that way. But if I wanted that sus, I'm going to have to finger it this way. There's a million other examples, but I can't think of them right now. Another way to play A is to bar the 4th string and 3rd string with your first finger and get the 2nd finger. And you're like, well, that's a weird way. That's how flamenco guitarists tend to do it. They tend to do it, and there's a reason why, and I'm trying to remember why it is. I think it's because they want their 3rd finger available. There's a certain rhythm. Flamenco guitar is all about different regions and different styles of playing. There's a certain groove that does a lot of that kind of stuff, the A to the B flat, and it has some. I don't know. There's a reason, and it makes sense. And I've forgotten. It's in one of these books. It's probably in this book, which is really a good book. These are great books, but it's. Oh yeah, one of the common is this one. That's what it is. Yeah, it's a very common flamenco chord. Beautiful chord. And so they'll be going back and forth between having that B flat on there and the B not, and that's interesting because it's an A major chord with a B flat. They'll go back and forth, so you need to keep the bar down. You can't be like, oh, I can do this. You can go like this, and then go like this. If I were just to play that chord, I might do it this way. But most of the time, it's like. So anyway, he didn't want to learn flamenco today. Let's see. Yeah, you use the 2. Yep, you play it that way. See, that's actually pretty common. Yeah, this 1, 2, 3 is really hard. I don't do that. I do 2, 3, 4. Let's see. Doing podcast drama, recording earlier. Oh, catch up later. Oh, cool. David Sillers. Do we know? Have you posted up on Discord? Oh, by the way, let me put the Discord link up. So, and I'll make it permanent. But so right here is an invite for the Discord, and it says set this link to never expire. So who knows? I don't know that that's true, but. Here's the link to that, and sometimes we carry on the conversation. Many of you will continue talking or whatever, posting pictures of yourselves, playing guitar, things like that. So, hey, Franco, God bless you too. Hello to all. The music store is sold out of all their guitars around here. Instruments below 1,000 are gone. Yes. It's interesting. Well, one of the things I've been doing is I've been trying to learn Spanish during this whole COVID shutdown. And I'm really enjoying doing Duolingo. It's really fun, and I meant to try it while walking. I don't know if I'll be able to do it while walking because it requires looking down too much. I don't want to walk into a tree or something, or down a manhole. But yeah, I think a lot of people have been taking up guitar, and I know that we've had a pretty good audience. At the beginning of COVID, we were having as many as 60 people on the live stream when I started doing the COVID lessons. So yeah, it's tough. So that just means you're just gonna have to buy a guitar over $1,000. So, not hard to do. Tom, post your favorite guitar solo YouTube link on Discord in the bookmark section. I have a hard time in the bookmark. Okay, I'll do that right now. All right, maybe that'll drive some people to the thing. I mentioned, and it won't be the solo. You'll have to. So Tom's bookmarks. Okay. Oh no, did you say Tom's bookmarks? In the bookmarks section. Okay, I can put it there. I generally put stuff there, but okay. So the song I'm thinking of that I really like is the Larry Carlton solo to Kid Charlemagne's. And let's see. I try to go to. They may not have. Yeah, Steely Dan live. Interesting. I saw Steely Dan a while back, and Larry Carlton, because it was in LA, Larry came up on stage and played the solo. He actually played with the band for quite a bit of the band. So I hold on, I gotta mute this. I will post the whole song. You're going to have to wait for the solo. I'm not going to post it where the solo is. The whole song's great if you don't know it. So here, okay, so I posted it in the homework, okay? And I'm going to keep the bookmarks for any diagrams and stuff that I create for our lessons. Does that make sense? Holly. Yeah, it's the yeah. I haven't. I don't think I've been to a guitar solo since the whole COVID thing happened. I bought the dulcimer, the chromatic dulcimer, but I haven't, that it's not something I needed to play in advance. And I think did I buy the Bode Psaltery too? I don't remember. I haven't really bought any guitars since COVID hit. Somebody, so I got the probably the most common comment I get on my big video, my number one with a bullet video. The one that basically got all of you to subscribe to my channel, that's 7 tips for older beginners. I get this comment so often that it's just funny, and I still defend myself on it. But they say you shouldn't recommend that people leave guitars out. It's bad for them. I got 2 of them this weekend. One saying kids could knock them down or destroy them. I have small kids, and another one said the humidity will destroy the guitars. And of course, I click on the links of these people that make these comments, and they're not professional musicians. They're not, and I get that. Why would you be watching the 7 tips for older beginners if you're a professional? But they're speaking like they're professionals, and they're saying that's not the proper thing to do. And I get it. You've read some forums where you should keep your guitars in your case. I don't disagree with that. I mean, my 1924 Martin is in a case with a humidifier. Okay. However, I have 21 guitars in my office alone, and not including the hallway and the bathroom. I've got probably another 12 instruments hung up in there. And so the reason is because I use them, and I need to have them out, and it takes too much time to go to the closet. Time is money. And it takes too much time to go to the closet, grab a guitar out, take it out of the case, bring it in here, So if it's a guitar I'm going to use a lot, and there's some that, like, I haven't played the Irish bouzouki in a while. That couldn't be put away. The the gray, what looks like a gray Les Paul up there is really a black Epiphone. And that's up there for display purposes. I only paid $80 for it. So my point is with those people, anybody that says that is I basically say, look, then have a cheap guitar out. But you need to have a guitar out because if you have to go to the closet, get a guitar out to play every day, there's going to be days, especially if you're not already good, there are going to be days you just plain forget because you don't normally play every day. So that's not good. The goal is to try to play every day. So what I say is get hangers. And you can hang them up really high so the kids can't touch them. And again, you can get a cheap guitar. The only problem with cheap guitars is that they're not set up very well. And if cheap guitars, may make it hard to play, and if it's hard to play, you'll be discouraged. So one of the recommendations that I didn't give in that video, I think I did in subsequent videos, that a lot of people will say, they'll say, yeah, also a good tip is to get a guitar set up, and I agree with that 100%. Let's see. Denise, I bought a couple of parlors, since the plague hit. Parlor guitars, small acoustics. Really fun. Yeah, is my parlor, I don't have my parlor out right now, but I do have one parlor guitar. Actually, my 24 Martin is a pretty small body guitar. It's a slot head, 12 fret, small body. So you almost could call it a parlor guitar, but I do have a Larrivee parlor guitar that I have tuned high strung. I think it's if you look at my high strung video, you do that. Oh, nice. You got your first telly. Tellys are great. You can see my telly up there. That's the only telly. Well, I have two tellys. I have a cheap telly that I paid $69 for, and I have strung African tuning. Let's see. Yeah, I can kind of set up my guitars myself too. I can do a neck adjust, and I can do adjustments to the bridge. Acoustics are more difficult, obviously. Winery Dog Soul. Okay, I'll check that out. Richie Kotzen, who was he the guitar player for originally? What was his claim to fame? I know his name. I'm sure I know him from Guitar Player magazines, stuff like that. Family Brown. What's Family Brown? Chris has been to a few concerts. He says Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Jeff Healey, Van Halen, Whitesnake, Bonamassa, Rod Stewart, April Wine. Yeah, so what was the first concert you went to? Mine was actually funny, but I remember it very well. We made an impression. But yeah, I've got my list is kind of weird, but I have not been to many concerts. I just don't. It's expensive, and when you're a poor musician, it's like, well, you're playing music all the time anyway. I did see one of my first concerts was who was the headliner? I remember seeing. It was at the Indianapolis Convention Center. It was like Wishbone Ash was one of the bands. Dang, man, I don't remember. I don't think that would have been the headliner because I didn't know who Wishbone Ash was. Dang, I don't remember. Kiss of 1976. Wow, that was that's like right in the middle of classic. Eagles 78. That's classic. So that was your first, Jim. Kiss was your first, AJ. Marillion, okay. Rick, you saw Leonard Skinner in a movie theater. Like, they were actually playing, or they were playing through the movie theater? Loving Spoonful. Wow, that goes way back. I think my first concert was 1973, and it was John Denver. And I've spoken about John Denver before. That's why I bought a 12. My second guitar was a 12-string because of John Denver. But it also almost made me quit playing guitar because it was a really bad, crappy 12-string that was really, really hard to play. And, it was just like, I made a mistake. So I don't have either of my first two guitars, but I have my third guitar that I ever got. And then the next few I don't have. My first electric I still have. Oh, Bruce, it was 68. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say Loving Spoonful probably wasn't around in 64. The Cowsills in 70. Oh, interesting. Well, and you know who warmed up John Denver was at Starland Vocal Band that had the song Afternoon Delight, and they were actually his background singers. That's how they became known. So, David Wilcox. Oh, wow. That's a cool solo or art. Let's see, Ice Coffee. I started working at concerts when I was 14. Oh, okay, Dire Straits, Johnny Winter, ZZ Top. That's cool. See, I worked at a record store, so I got a lot of free records. But working at a concert venue is probably even better. Is this my story for today? Yeah, okay, I'll make it the story for today. So my mom took me to see John Denver at Market Square Arena in Indianapolis. I was 12 years old, and I had the same round glasses he had. I don't know that was intentional, but people kept pointing at me as we walked our way up to our seats going, hey, look, it's a little John Denver. They thought I looked like John. And no one had ever said that before, but because I was at a John Denver concert. And I can't remember if Starland Vocal Band actually did the warm-up or if they just did the song in the middle of the show. But at the time, I think, and maybe it was 74, maybe I was 13. I could be off by a year. Let me look up Starland Vocal Band and see when that was a hit. '76, it says. So maybe it was 76. Maybe it was later than I thought it was. But I'm pretty sure that was my first concert. So, and then I went to see Alice Cooper, but that was with my friend Rick Bennick. And of course, I saw Roadmaster many times, which was the band that my friend Rick Bennick was in, and Faith Band. Those were local bands, and they were pretty big in Indiana. They were like the local gods. It's the only time I went to. They had a really nice rehearsal space. It was in an industrial park, classic kind of industrial park, giant, really long room, high ceilings, and Roadmaster and Faith Band both rented it together. And basically, they were only there at night. In fact, Faith Band was supposed to do they were going to do a show at Market Square Arena with Kenny Loggins. And I did see Kenny Loggins, and America warmed him up. That was actually a pretty good show. That was in Indianapolis, too. That was at the tennis stadium. And that was when Kenny Loggins was pretty big. He was having it was probably 78, 79, something like that, maybe 80. He had a lot of hits back then. I am trying to get my windows organized, sorry. Okay. Yes, Alice Cooper. Actually, Alice is a really nice guy. I met him backstage, and this would have been probably 80, 81, something like that, because Rick Bennick and I became friends, and Rick was the guitar player for Roadmaster. So we didn't even have tickets, we didn't have backstage passes, we just walked backstage. Because I was with Rick, he could go anywhere. Everybody, all the security people at the convention center knew Rick, so it was like, yeah, go on in, man. We're just walking around. And so we're hanging out, and I could not believe how skinny, oh my gosh, he was heroin skinny. And he wasn't. I don't think he did drugs. Alice Cooper is actually Christian. He was even a Christian back then. He was a fundamentalist Christian. He grew up, raised in a fundamentalist Christian home. He's got an amazing testimony. And part of the reason he started doing the Alice Cooper thing is because the thinking was he was trying to make evil real. It totally took off. So it's interesting to hear his story. Let's see. Okay, Ice Coffee. My parents' friends owned a large PA hire company. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, see, that's awesome. And yeah, that's pretty wild at 14. I bet you saw some crazy stuff. Especially getting to be backstage. Let's see. Charlie B, what did you say? I missed it. Dang it. It's going by pretty quick here. You can't remember my first concert. Oh, I saw the Stones. Probably the same in the '80s. I saw the Steel Wheels tour. Was it that one? It was the loudest concert I'd ever been to. Okay, so I missed someone's. Oh, Charlie, Buffalo Springfield '68. Oh, that's cool. Vito, my first band that I heard kind of was One Direction, Coldplay. Nothing retro till now. But Vito, what was your first concert? That's what we're talking about. What was the first live concert you went to? Maybe you haven't been to one yet. I mean, it's funny because I probably should put together a list because I'm realizing there's a bunch that I forgot I ever saw. I mean, of course, I saw Justin Bieber once, and we had passes and everything, and that was fun. Duran Duran, I didn't see. Again, so much of the time I didn't go to concerts because I couldn't afford to. I mean, concerts have always been expensive, and then by the time you get down there and park, and then whatever you buy a ticket for someone else, I don't know. I need to take my wife to see James Taylor. I wish if there were concerts going on right now, I might take her to see James Taylor. He'll do casino shows here in California, but it's still not cheap. But they'll be at one of the Indian casinos. But that's kind of a great way to go and see an artist because it's more intimate venues. They're not as big. But my first concert, the Stones, yeah, Kingdom in Seattle. Oh yeah, indoor concerts are awful. Oh, Alex and I saw Fleetwood Mac recently with the original band at the Forum, the Inglewood Forum, and it sounded amazing. They completely turned it into a concert venue. It's no longer a sports venue, so that it was really quiet, but very clear. I was shocked at how quiet it was. But most, I would say that the Stones concert was pretty horrible sounding just because it was so stinking loud. And that was at the Coliseum. And that was crazy because they were warmed up by, it was Living Colour, Guns N' Roses, and the Rolling Stones. I mean, that's a pretty big set, that's a pretty big band list for a show. And the night before, Axl quit Guns N' Roses on stage. And then, of course, he showed up and they did a set the next night. It was really fun. Really, we went to the show not knowing if Axl was even going to be there, so we didn't know what was going to happen. Rush. I never saw Rush. I'm not a Rush fan. So I couldn't get past Geddy Lee's voice, and I never really liked the guitar playing. Drumming's great, but I don't like busy drummers. So it was like a trifecta for me. I've never been a Rush fan, but that's fine. I mean, there are people that, a lot of people, my favorite band right now is Radiohead, and has been for years, and a lot of people hate Radiohead, so I don't have a problem with that. Stones at 69. Yeah, I had friends that went to Louisville and saw the Stones in, with that 79, when Prince warmed them up. And he came out in a G-string, and that was the year that the Hells Angels were their security team, and people were throwing stuff at Prince coming out in a G-string. Nobody knew who he was, and he was like, "I want to be your lover," and people were like, "What is this?" I mean, the Stones were way ahead of their time. They knew talent when they saw it, especially R&B talent. Faith Band, Chosen Few. Yes, you're from Indiana. Chosen Few. I don't know Chosen Few, but Faith Band and Roadmaster. There's also, what was it? John Mellencamp. I saw him. I forgot. I saw him. I saw Mitch Ryder, but they were warming up because my friend Rick Bennick was playing with Mitch Ryder, so he got me passes to see that, and they were playing with Little River Band, so I could see the Little River Band. And I actually was standing in the wings for that show, which was kind of fun. It was not a see-through G-string, I don't think. A friend of mine was actually at the show where Chili Peppers, before they were famous, because they used to just play parties in L.A., and a friend of mine was at one of the shows where I don't know if they did it in more than one show, but it was pretty famous. They talk about that, where they all just wore one sock each. That's just not. I see. I might have to rate this PG-13. This video. Iron Maiden was your first. Wow. I was threatened with ankle Beer battles smashed behind my. Wow. That was before you got into the building. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Um, I know. I never got to see Prince several times. In fact, he did a bunch of shows at the Forum recently. Like a few years ago. And the piano player at my church, Michiko, and her husband Pee Wee, who's the bass player. She's Japanese and he's black. And their daughter, Judith Hill, you can look her up. She produced Prince produced one of her records. She's an amazing singer, and I gave her first couple guitar lessons, and I've been to see her shows. She and Prince were very, very close. In fact, she was with him. She was flying with him. So when Prince, right like the week before he died, he did a makeup show down in Atlanta, and he asked Judith if she wanted to come with him, and so she flew to Minneapolis, and then they flew down to Atlanta on his private jet, and then he did the show, and then he was flying back, and he started to have a seizure. Judith's sitting right there, they're in the air, and she's sitting across from him, they were talking. And all of a sudden, he starts to go comatose, and she's like, "We got to land this plane. We got to land this plane." And it's an interesting thing. At Paisley Park, you weren't allowed. There was no alcohol. There was no drugs. Really, I don't even think he allowed cussing. It was vegan. And he and Judith, he loved Judith. I think he wanted to marry Judith. And she was sitting across from him, and she demanded that they land the plane. And had she not done that, he would have died. But the thing was, even though he was against all those things, he was addicted to Percocet, I think it is, the painkiller. Because remember, he was Jehovah's Witness. He needed a hip replacement surgery, I think, and he was putting it off, and so he got addicted to, and it may be part of the Jehovah's Witness thing that he didn't want to get surgery. I forget, but he got, like so many people got addicted to painkillers, and so I'm thinking probably what happened in his head was that if a doctor's prescribing it, then it's not a drug like heroin or LSD or anything like that. But he was a very clean person. He lived very clean, very healthy, very, very healthy person. And so no smoking, none of that stuff. So Judith insisted that they land the plane. So they did an emergency landing, I think, in Elgin, Illinois. And I think she knew that he had taken Percocet, and he probably OD'd on it and taken too much of it, and to kill the pain that he was suffering. Of course, then when you get on those painkillers, oftentimes the pains are amplified when you're trying to get off of the drugs, and so they gave him, what's a Z-Pack, or what is that thing? Aaron asked me a question about John Mayer. Oh, you're still there. Oh, I love John Mayer's playing. Are you kidding? John Mayer is freaking a beast. Not only is he a beast player, he's a tone master. The guy is a freaking tone master. He buys the best vintage guitars, the best vintage amps, and he gets the best thing. His tones are great on his records. He really is very into that. It's very cool. But anyway, back to Judith. She insisted they land the plane, and then what's that called that they give someone that's a overdose on like a Narcan. That's it. Yeah. So they get, they meet, and so he went to the hospital. He was there about 8 hours, and he wanted to go out. The doctor was saying, "No, you have to stay," but he said, "No, I'm going home." So they flew back to, Minneapolis, and then Judith had to get back to L.A. for a gig, so she left him there. One of the things that was interesting was, I can't. Some of this is personal, so I can't share it, unfortunately. But when he was in the hospital and out, he had a spiritual revelation that changed one of his major theological perspectives. And it's interesting because I think the last tweet he did was, he tweeted, "I'm transformed," I think he said. If you go to Prince's Twitter page, you can see the last tweet he did. And then just a few days later, after Judith was with him, he died. And he was actually, I think, my understanding was that he was in the elevator coming down. He was at Paisley Park where he lived, and that was his studio. And it had a concert hall and it had all sorts of stuff, where they would do shows and stuff. Oh, good for you, Rick. Dang, that must have been brutal. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. Yeah, huge respect for Rick, everybody. But he, I think, died in the elevator, and he was taking the elevator down to open the door for a doctor that was going to come and help him get off of the Percocet. I think that's the story. So Canned Heat. Canned Heat might have been, Charlie, the show that I saw with Aaron. That's kind of a John Mayer thing to do. Do a hammer-on and a slide. And he loves compression, so he always puts a lot of compression, which normally, and I am always running a compressor, but lightly compressed. But compressor is a tone killer a lot of times if you over compress something. I hate it when on pop records when they over compress my acoustic guitar. A lot of times they really compress it, and it's kind of like you can't tell what kind of guitar it is. You can't tell if it's a Gibson or a Fender. I mean, a Gibson or a Martin, because it's so compressed. But John Mayer makes it work. I don't know. He just uses just the right amount of compression. So that's, so yeah, so I'm definitely a huge John Mayer fan. Oh, you got to see him in concert? I've never seen him in concert. Yeah, I've watched some concert videos of his, and he's really good. He's kind of one of those guys that you hate because he's a good songwriter, he's a good singer, he's a good guitar player, and he's a good-looking kid, and you're like, damn you. It's like, but, hopefully he can find the right lady, right? Aaron, you found the right lady. Aaron's engaged. Congratulations, Aaron! So happy for you. I highly recommend it. I know you're marrying your best friend, so that's the best thing you can do. My best friend, he didn't want to marry me, so I had to marry Beth. Jerry didn't want to marry me. I wish Jerry were watching right now. I miss you, Jerry. Let's see. You saw who 3 times? Charlie B, you mentioned it. Canned Heat. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'm trying to remember who the other artist. All I can think of for right now is Wishbone Ash, and I know I didn't go to see Wishbone Ash, but it was 3 very album-oriented bands. Let's see. Blood transfusions almost always occur during hip surgery. Yes, and that's why a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses are hesitant to do that. But I don't know why you can't donate your own blood in advance and then go get surgery. Blood keeps that long. Let's see. But I know that a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses are afraid to get surgeries for that reason. So, or not afraid, but it's maybe against their religion. But I'm speaking out of ignorance here. Yes, I saw that pickup truck, Rick. Freaking cool pickup truck. You heard my story about the pickup truck a couple weeks ago, right? About my friend driving the pickup truck, tailgating right after he got his license. Aaron, run. Chris, whatever. Yeah, Aaron, I'm gonna give you the same advice that my father gave me. Don't do it. No, that's funny. Aaron has a good one, and she's a boss. She'll be the boss of you. I'm just kidding. So Aaron's dad is my wife's twin. So, okay, so let me play a little more. I'll do some jazzier stuff here. Wait, maybe. Do I have a John Mayer sound? I don't know if I do. Let me see if I have a John Mayer sound. Audio 2, input 2. There. I don't know if I have one. Oops. No, I haven't really created a John Mayer sound. Let me see. See, this one's interesting because I don't even have an amp in this one. See, I would say this is not it. It needs an amp. I like this sound, but it's not the right one. Basic clean, probably. Loud. Oh, I turn off the compressor. Yeah, he likes a brighter sound, which I like a brighter sound. And he tends to be a Strat guy, but now he's playing a GNL. I mean, not a GNL. He's playing like a. I'm gonna make this room smaller. And then I can add like with I'm in GarageBand, so I can go to components and then click on like distortion, and I've got different sources. What I might do is a treble booster, if I can add that right there. Really, the best sound on this guitar is both pickups on. You really have, the action's too low. You dig in, which I tend to dig in really hard, it tends to make the string buzz. If I play light, it's a great guitar. Anyway. Little bit distorted there, but not bad. Trying to get kind of a clean sound. Anyway, I got all these comments. Dad number 2, yeah. Be glad I wasn't your dad. Look at how Jack turned out, for crying out loud. It's so funny because Jack, my son Jack, who's the engineer, in some way, Aaron and Jack are more like each other than Alex and Jack, the brothers, are. It's really funny. I almost felt like they should have been brothers instead of Alex and Jack. Let's see. Oh, thanks, John. Yeah, I'm just basically, it's a clean Fender, but I put a treble booster on it. I don't know if you can hear the reverb, but I'm using a Valhalla reverb, which are great. You can buy them at $50 each if you have a DAW. I think they have 6 different products out. I own every one of them. Let me pull up the Valhalla. I'll put a link here if you want to check them out. I really like Valhalla DSP. And they have free things too, so you can download some free stuff from them, which is cool. So if you have like I say, you have a DAW of some kind, or I can just put it right here. You can check out their stuff. But Vintage Verb is great, $50. Valhalla Room is great. Uber Mod, what is that? Best for dissolving into chorus flange. Ooh, wait, I don't think I have that. Why did they come out with something and not tell me? Space Modulator is free. The Frequency Echo is free. The Supermassive is free, which is pretty freaking amazing for a free download. The Uber Mod. So wait a minute. Oh, did they change the name of? No, I think I have this Uber Mod. I think they changed the name. Because I think I have all 6 products. The delay is very cool. The plate is my favorite right now. But plate reverbs are kind of that's just a throwback to the 70s for me. So I like the sound of plate reverbs. I think is that what I'm using here? No, this is the Valhalla Room. Yeah, so it's very bright room right now. Very small room. Kind of a chambery room, but actually it's a pretty big room. But I've got 1.72 seconds of reverb on it at 17%. So I don't know if that translates to the. You guys can hear that at all. Oh, hey, sorry, Mr. Benny. Yes. Oh, Morocco. Are you kidding? I love it. Someday I want to go to Morocco. It looks so freaking gorgeous. It looks so gorgeous. And I've worked with a couple Moroccan. I'm trying to think of. Was Morocco at one point French colony? You speak French in Morocco, or did you at one point? I can't remember. I have a friend, David, but he's from Cameroon. Never mind. Great bass player. Discord. Oh, link. Okay. Where's link? I'll post the Discord link again, right here. Oh, I did not put that VSP link. The Valhalla link is not up on Discord. You do speak French, yeah. Yeah. Ah, parlez-vous français? My wife speaks French. I do not. I'm trying to learn Spanish. It's probably for me professionally and where we live, it's probably the most useful. And it's easy. I need something that's not easy, but it's easier. I try to do Japanese, but man, that's so hard because I was using Duolingo and it was teaching you the writing as well. And I'm like, I guess you need to know how to read the writing and write the reading. But I couldn't do it. But awesome. I'm so glad you're watching from Morocco. It makes me very, 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 very happy. And let's see. Can you say my name? Benhima. Do I teach flamenco? Not really. No, I wouldn't ever consider myself a flamenco guitar. I like to play. I'm working on it myself. I'm kind of learning it, but I don't really teach it. I'm not really teaching private lessons anymore. I got one student, and I haven't taught a lesson to him in a couple months in London. In fact, we just talked about doing it. We haven't gotten around to it. So, 8 o'clock. Okay, 18 o'clock. Sorry, 1800. So 6 p.m. So around dinner time, yeah. But I'm on I'm trying to be on every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. This Friday I have a session. I may not be on Friday. We'll see. But every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. California time, Pacific time. So I'm not sure what that is. Greenwich Mean Time. Well, no, Greenwich, Dennis, that would be 8 hours. So is that 5 o'clock? 9. My 9 is your 5. Oh, 8. Yeah. Anyway. City called Safi. Frank, really, technically, the only way to learn flamenco, technically, officially, is from somebody, and you basically have to move in with them for like 3 months, and then every day that's all, that's the way. The true flamenco guitarist will tell you you can't learn it through a book, but I've got lots of books, so that's what I really like I've got all of these books. There's, I think, 3 or 4 of them. And they get digging in fast. And then also this one, which comes with a CD, and this one is mostly just pieces, so it's not easy. There may be some beginner flamenco books. I mean, like I said, this one is the one. This is supposedly beginner, but it's not. I can put links to these up on here. I need to do some reviews of some books, but okay, let's go here. I got to get to work. Let's see, Amazon. Let's get some Amazon links. Here we go. And I see you guys have been buying stuff on my links. I appreciate that. I make a little percentage every time you. Let's see, Paco Peña. This starts out with songs, okay? Spanish edition. We don't want the Spanish edition. Let's see. Student. I mean, it says student repertoire, but it's like not easy. But it's, but it does have tab. So if you're not a music reader, you can do the tab. It's both. It has both, okay? So there's that one. And then the other one, which is a series of books, Guitarra Flamenca. And it is in English and Spanish. Let's see, too. There we go. Whoa, $7. Or I wish it were $7. That's weird. This is $40, so they must have discontinued it. Dang. I'm glad I bought them all. Oh, this one also, I did get this one, and it's actually not bad. This one would probably make more sense. This is Juan Martin's book. I do have this one. This is probably the best beginner book that I've found. I think this is the first one. It looks, volume 1, yeah. So if you scroll through some pages here, you can see that it starts pretty simple. But right away, they're getting you going on the whole rasgueado thing, which is, rasgueado is the right-hand stuff. That's freaking brutal. Because I grew up, I'm changing guitars so we can take a sip. We haven't taken any sips. Aaron, we have a drinking game. We play a drinking game. And this isn't my flamenco guitar, this is my classical guitar. But like classical guitar is largely grabbing. Okay, so so I'm plucking strings. When you do the scales, we're largely, we're pulling our fingers in towards our hand, in towards our palm. Even the Spanish type stuff. There's a couple cases in that piece where you're actually doing flamenco style devices. But with flamenco guitar, so much of it is like is rasgueados, which are you hitting the strings with your fingernails. shoot, did you told me how to say Queen of? No, I can't play Queen of Damned Forsaken. I wouldn't probably play it anyway if I could. I don't even know the song. But oh, so many questions. Another time, you tune in and we'll try to answer some of those questions. But different tunings just are, inspire different styles of music sometimes. Dadgad, I think that was one of the ones you listed. Yeah, Dadgad is often referred to as the Celtic tuning. Irish musicians use it. The Irish bouzouki is kind of almost a Dadgad-y kind of sound. But standard Eat It, Denny's Get Bad Eggs, EADGBE. But like shoot. Flamenco is very loud. And this guitar is my classical, not my flamenco guitar, but flamenco is loud because you're playing along with dancers that have metal taps on their shoes and singers and castanets. So everything they do is designed for volume. Even the guitar, a flamenco guitar, is slightly different than a classical guitar. It's slightly narrower. The wood is different, it's particularly the back wood and the top, and it creates more projection and more immediate because it's a little narrower. It's a little bit. The sound is a little bit more immediate on a flamenco guitar. But yeah, so when I started studying flamenco guitar, I realized how much you're pushing rather than pulling, and man, the top of my hand would just feel like it was on fire. Oh, bummer! I didn't get to say bye to Aaron. Well, I'll text him later. I generally don't play songs because of copyright issues. Exactly right. Thank you, Dennis. I don't want to. I like having my videos monetized. if I hit play on a song, it happened before. I hit play on a song, and then YouTube gave me a warning and said you can't do that. Do you want us to cut that out? And I said sure, which is cool. YouTube gives me the option to cut that out, but why put it in? Why do it in the first place? So my Instagram is the Strahle. So you'll have to. I don't do guitar stuff on my Instagram though. It's mostly for family and friends. So, but that's my Instagram if you want to look me up. But I set it. It's private right now. So, yeah, it's on my website. But I don't. Yeah, like I said, I don't really post much to it. Okay. Is that a Hofner guitar? It looks like my oldie bought back in '75. Hofner. Which guitar, Franco? Yeah, I've got to get back to work too. Yeah, and Benny, I've done bunches of lessons on Dadgad. If you go back, I try to put the title in the. In all caps in the name of the live stream. So it'll say like lesson number, 87, and then it'll say Dadgad or Open D or whatever. We just did a series on Slide, and we used Open G for some of that. So if you go back just a few lessons, a couple weeks, you'll see the lessons I did on Slide. So Slide nylon. Kind of a cool sound. Oh, the one I'm playing. Oh, no, this is an Asturias. It's a Spanish guitar maker. Classical guitars pretty much all look alike, but they don't all sound alike. I've had this guitar for a long time, and it's been repaired. It's been damaged and repaired, but it's held up very well. And they're made in Japan. He made it. But he's a Spanish builder, and he builds them in Japan. He lives in Japan. I don't know if he's still alive, though. All right. I am going to take off. Thank you so much for watching. We got up to 35 at one point, I saw. It's kind of cool. Yep, 35, 35, 35. 3 times we hit 35. It was a slow burn. It was like, it wasn't until an hour in that we got up to 35. Oh, thank you, Holly. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. So we will do some more stuff on soloing. I'm probably going to do more like what I did today, where I just play. Let's see what the fifth sounds on every one of these chords. So let's find the fifth of each one of the chords, find those 5 notes or 4 notes, and play them over the 4 chords and see how they sound. Let's do the sixth. What is the sixth going to sound like? What kind of tensions are we going to create? That kind of stuff. Okay. I took my guitar in to get the fretboard, and it sounds worse. Oh, dang it. Yeah, sometimes on my flamenco guitar, initially when I got it, I tried to make the action lower, and I lowered this too much, so I had to get a new nut and put it back the way it was. So it's not easy. I had it playing really easy, but it was buzzing too much. So, all right. So I am going to, again, thank you, Holly. I am going to see you, hopefully, God willing, on Wednesday, and we'll do some more of this single note stuff. Just kind of playing just listening, because again, soloing doesn't need to be busy. I mean, that's one of our paths: crazy busy or beautiful. I noticed I said the two. And when I was playing fast, that was just to show off. It's like, why am I playing fast? Does it serve the song? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it does. I don't know. So anyway, okay, I'll talk to you later. Oh, thanks, Iced Coffee. I can't believe you guys sat through all of this. Anyway, I'll talk to you soon. God bless you. Bye-bye. Man, 2 hours.